Part of the reason why I was so harsh on fans of this show when I talked about season 8, episode 3, was for a selfish and somewhat silly reason. Yeah, I may have said your Azor Ahai fanfiction was dumb. I may have said, why not Arya? And a lot of people don't agree with me on that. That's fine. But part of the reason why I went, it was kind of good. It was because it was the first time in about 3.5 seasons that I didn't know what was going to happen. That I felt some actual measure of investment and trepidation. And part of what's not acceptable is honestly that I really wanted to see the show kill somebody I didn't want to see die. And they have not had the balls to do that in episode 3 or in episode 4. I'm here to argue with you that episode 4 of this season is worse than episode 3. By a lot. And the reason why is in the grand scheme of things. Yes, a single event, a single plot line, arguably the most important plot line, yes, but just one was somewhat fucked up, or maybe majorly fucked up, maybe totally ruined, depending on how you look at it, the whole Night King thing. But we have the resolution of the war to consider. And here we have the introduction of manufactured drama, and the greatest of all writing sins, in my opinion, is having a plot that depends on the incomprehensible stupidity and logos, I don't know what the word is, just the lack of logic with these characters. We had to manufacture drama between Jon Snow and Daenerys Targaryen. We had to manufacture a conflict between Sansa and Daenerys Targaryen. And just because that obviously wasn't good enough, we had to manufacture a conflict between Varys and Tyrion. And Varys, what they've done to Varys, the way they've misused, underutilized, and ruined this character, I think is a more distilled, distinct, total ruining of a character than even the Night King. Which honestly wasn't so much as a character as a force of nature, a living, killing MacGuffin is what the Night King was, really. And if they had set up the Night King better, if they had not let all of his shit up to just pure speculation so that each and every fan of the show could pick a reason, any reason that they could possibly want, any hope or fan theory or intuition or guess about what was going to happen or what should have happened, all of that is up to conjecture. And there are probably some right and wrong answers within. But Varys is a character that I always thought, at least as far as the books go, and his character is nowhere near resolved in the books, actually a Targaryen loyalist who was always looking out for Daenerys' interests and looking out for the chance to overthrow the usurpers. Varys in this episode claims that he's an idealist whose duty is only to the realm. And on the eve of a major climactic fucking battle, he wants to take the one person who the majority of his army is loyal to, or at least half of his army is loyal to, and assassinate her because he finds her rash. This is a girl he's been loyal to since she was an infant, supposedly, who has acted in the interest of, for the entirety of the show, decides a character he's more or less just met, Jon Snow, is better than her just because he is the true heir, but nobody knows that. And he could easily, like Tyrion said, just marry her, which seems to be intended. And Varys strongly insinuates to Tyrion, whether you like it or not, I am probably going to kill our queen. Meanwhile, our queen is so sure that fucking Sansa, who gives a fuck about Sansa except for the writers of this show, no character should hold her in anything more than the temporary steward of Winterfell, a lady of Winterfell, but since Jon Snow is basically unofficially or perhaps even officially the king in the fucking north, if Sansa has a problem with Daenerys and Jon Snow doesn't, who the fuck cares? And Jon Snow, like a fool, decides to start spreading the secret of who he is to all sorts of fucking people, and it's going to spread further because Jon Snow, very much like Daenerys, is a fucking idiot. And Daenerys Targaryen is a total retard. She has always either been naive, overly idealistic, rash, vengeful, violent. She is an idiot. And yet we've insisted for so long, and in part really it's been, I guess, her arc, to struggle to be benevolent, to be beloved, and to be righteous. And she stopped being that way before this episode. She stopped being that way before this season. And I always knew that her rash behavior, her vengefulness, and her basic metamorphosis into her fucking brother was going to be a problem. But the thing is, if she had half a fucking brain, she could be internally malicious, but externally, I don't know what the word to use, efficient, smart, not a fucking idiot who starts unnecessary conflicts because she is jealous, because she is vain, when that was not her character originally. I am just getting fucking upset with this. So we had to manufacture internal conflict, and this is the major problem with the show. The writing is so fucking bad. This is such a well-acted, well-shot, well-set designed, even, I suppose, well-directed show. But the writing is cartoonishly, childishly bad. I have seen young teenagers in middle school who write better stories than this. This seems to be what progressive Hollywood has become, is people that have no business shouldering the responsibility of these multi-million-dollar franchises, running them into ground with sheer fucking incompetence. And I think that the evolution of our plotline post-Night King is worse than everything that happened with the Night King. The Night King was a one-dimensional, trope-filled conflict, and the big controversy is who fucking stabbed him at the end. Sorry if that doesn't fuck with me. I'm sorry if I'm a little bit too Rick and Morty big-brained for this, apparently. But I think this is the kind of shit that matters. That ultimately all we're really left with, what the writers have chosen to focus on, is these characters. And if this is going to be a character-driven show, then the characters need to not be fucking retarded. Even if the events that unfold and who dies and who lives is fucking retarded, the characters have to make sense. Even if they're dumb, they have to be logically dumb. This has to follow. So Varys wants to assassinate his queen. Tyrion wants to walk up to a wall, the wall of King's Landing, and treat with his sister directly. His sister has a wall of archers. There is no person in the world she wants dead more than Tyrion. And rather than fill Tyrion full of as many arrows as the surface area of his impish body could possibly fucking hold, she says, check this out. I'm gonna kill your slave translator. Mwahahaha. I like Miss Andy. I'm a little bit, I like her silly little romance with Grey Worm. It's cute, it's quaint. I think she's the hottest female on the show. She's gorgeous. But she is a slave translator. She is a fucking clerk. If it was anybody who fucking matters up there prepared to be beheaded by the mountain, maybe I would have cared. I did care. I did not want Miss Sandy to die. But the thing is, if you think about the plot for a second, Cersei has 2 lives in her hand, barring the fact that the entirety of Daenerys' party outside the walls is well within range of her longbows, but I will forgive the writers for not knowing how far they can shoot. They could have filled Daenerys full of arrows at that range. She kills the slave who she's never met. I don't even know if she knows that, say, like the captain of Daenerys' royal guard, whatever you want to call Grey Worm, is the one who's going to care if Missandei dies. Missandei, the one person they capture, they could have captured Varys or Tyrion or Grey Worm himself or fucking anybody who was on those boats who actually fucking matters. But because we have less and less named characters by the fucking day, less and less pawns to play with, and an unwillingness to kill anybody of actual fucking importance, our next least valuable player on the team is the slave translator, folks. And we're supposed to freak the fuck out that they cut the head off of the diversity hire. Only if I think about it in the abstract as a selfish, empty-headed fan who's not concerned with the quality of the art form. Again, to be Pickle Rick over here. If I turn my fucking brain off, no, don't kill Missandei, she's my eye candy. Hey, that rhymes. But she doesn't fucking matter now, does she? She's nobody. There was everything I liked about the episode really was fan service. Yeah, Jaime slept with Brienne of Tarth. Nice. There was more drama between Arya and Gendry. Nice. Gendry became unofficial Lord of Storm's End. Nice. Doesn't matter. Bronn threatening Jaime and Tyrion. Great scene. Bronn, best single scene of his career. Fantastic. Really turned on the fireworks because we're probably not going to see him again. Nice. Doesn't matter. There are key moments. Dragon gets killed because Daenerys is a retard. Interesting. Shocking. Depends on Daenerys being fucking stupid, but it raises the stakes. My expectations are so fucking low that some legitimate plot-affecting drama, another CGI budget cost cut is created. One more dragon that we don't have to render. That's something. Golf clap. The fact that Tyrion would expose himself to Cersei. Great. But it only works if Cersei kills him. Or it only works if he's not dumb enough to do that in the first place. Now maybe Tyrion has developed such a heart of gold and such a responsible nature that he would put his life on the line to try to reason with his sister, which he knows better not to do and would never actually do if the writers were of any quality. But the fact that Cersei, who is an irrational, vengeful fucking demoness, did not kill him with extreme overkill. We're talking like, should have had the fucking, the mountain chuck a boulder at him and just smash him into fucking paste. The fact that that did not happen. That she didn't have somebody come out of the fucking gate and just snatch him and torture him to death in a fucking dungeon, or use him as the pawn to threaten people with, as if that would even work all that much better than fucking Missandei, because he's not really one of the crowd, and that the only person who really is willing to risk something for him is Daenerys, who has been very cold to him lately. It's just a scene that does not work at all. It doesn't work at all. I have to shut my brain off to appreciate it. But the major fuck this show moments that I had, way beyond a single thing that happened in the previous episode, for all the Battle of Winterfell, is Varys saying we should just fucking kill Daenerys, and Tyrion basically sacrificing himself to Cersei, and Cersei not killing him. It's fucking ridiculous. More ridiculous than anything fan service. More ridiculous than any plotline subversion. It's just bad. It's just character betrayal. I don't put so much stock in the supposed, this person deserves this win, this is his arc, you're butting in. I think that is not as important. I don't think it is a valueless argument. I think it is a limited value argument, because resolution does not necessarily require that people deserve things in a narrative. Maybe it's better if the deserved parties do it, but the point is not that the deserved party gets the kill. Because how different is it that Arya fans get to jerk off to Arya killing the Night King? You know, people who wanted something subversive, maybe they were feminists, maybe they were just big time Arya fans, maybe everybody liked the surprise. I liked the surprise this much, but I didn't have an overly negative opinion of it, and I was shocked that that was the first thing that everybody else was mad at, when there was literally everything else was more wrong in that show, and that's saying something. But I was like, the point is that the Night King dies by any means necessary, and I believe that the means had to be great and with great luck. And I felt like it was an acceptable answer to that question. I didn't need Jon to do it, and the thing is, Jon did literally everything but land the killing blow, and yet people are acting like he was 100% robbed instead of what? 10%, 20%, even 50%? He wasn't 100%. What do you think, he did nothing? You're stupid. You know, but I understand why people say it doesn't work, and it does not work great, even if I do everything I can in my power to like it. And I just find it acceptable. And my standard for this series is so fucking low at this point that acceptable is high praise. From me. I've been mad for a long time, folks. And part of the reason why I've been a dick to you talking about this show is because I feel like we should have been complaining this loudly much sooner. And I guess it's like what Mahler said. We all had faith that things would turn around. Season 7 told me that having any expectations, there wasn't much point to it. I like to guess what happens. I like to predict what happens. This series has turned so batshit insane, so awkward and clumsy and sophomoric, that at least part of the fun is wondering what clusterfuck will unfold next. And with 2 episodes left, we have a manufactured, petty, childish, selfish, corny-ass fucking internal conflict. Meanwhile, apparently the enemy has turned out to be very effective in combating our retarded protagonists and GG free another dragon. Now there's only one. Wow, those things did not turn out to be terribly useful now, did they? Holy shit. And the only reason why that doesn't bother me as much is because I've read Fire and Blood, Part 1 of the History of the Targaryens, and I learned that some pretty fucking ridiculous things happen involving dragons, and that dragons actually get GG freed more often than you would think. There's literally like 3 dragons that get killed by peasants with like sticks and shit in a riot. Happens. Now the dragons were, I don't know if they were chained to the ground, but they were in a dome where they couldn't fly. But for all the peasants that they roasted and bit and slashed and whacked with their tail, they still butchered 3 of them. Right in the middle of King's Landing. The dragons are not invulnerable. However, if used appropriately, dragons can break kingdoms in a day. That is definitely something else that has happened. Multiple kingdoms broken within about 20 minutes with 3 dragons. If only a competent fucking person was in charge of them instead of a stupid fucking child. Daenerys is a stupid fucking child. Fuck this show, guys.